One of the craziest realizations you can ever have is that your life reflects your standards. If you're unhappy at your job, but you stay there, then you've got low standards. If you're unhappy in your relationship, but you stay there, then you've got low standards. When I was working as a manager in a retail setting, one of my associates was upset because the guy that she was dating ended things in a way that was not the best. It was kind of toxic, and the whole relationship was kind of toxic. And before she even got in this relationship, I had told her, don't get in this relationship. It's not going to serve you. It's not going to be good for you. But if you choose to, it's totally cool, but I would recommend not doing it. And after everything blew up in her face, she was saying to me, man, he's so dumb. Oh, man. And the bar was so low. And he still didn't hit it. And I looked at her and I said, exactly. You set the bar low. And so you've got a man who met that low standard of yours. You had low standards. And now you got to deal with the consequences of your actions. If you don't want a low value man, why set the bar low? And so then I said, hey, be thankful, because now you know what you deserve and you can raise your standards. If you have low standards, you're going to have a low quality of life. You're going to be unhappy in your life. You're going to be unhappy in your situations. But here's what's crazy. The reason why you're unhappy is because your true self actually has high standards for you. Your true self has healthy boundaries. Your true self knows what it's worth. Your true self doesn't stay in places where it's being abused. And so that's why you're unhappy. And that's why you're in pain, because you're not living authentically. So when you're experiencing these things, when you're experiencing the pain of a toxic person or a relationship in your life, you're experiencing a toxic boss or a toxic job, it's because you're being called to change your situation, because you deserve more. You deserve different, because you want different. Everybody gets what they deserve. I could not grasp that concept for the longest time. Like here in Portland, Oregon, where I live, it's known for having a lot of homeless people. But do you know what else? There's a ton of shelters and a ton of places they can go for resources. But we can't force the homeless people to go to the shelter. We can't force the homeless person to take advantage of the resources. We can't. But if a homeless person wants to go to a shelter or wants to take advantage of the resources, then they will. And when you work with enough homeless people, my family has worked in recovery with homeless addicts. And when you work with enough of them, you understand that a huge amount of them want to be homeless. They choose to be homeless. Literally, when I was a kid, I met a dude who went by the name of T-Bone at a homeless shelter when I was there with my family volunteering. He had been homeless since he was 16, and he was in his 60s. And he wanted to be homeless because he said, there's no rules for me. That's what he said, and that's what he wanted. And a lot of people want that. Now, of course, there's also homeless people who don't want to be homeless. But a part of them does. Because a lot of these people who are like, well, I don't want to be homeless, they're still doing things to stay on the streets, and they're not taking advantage of opportunities that are there. Now, let me say, this doesn't mean we turn off our empathy, we turn off our compassion. But when you begin to live from a place of, I am a creator of my own life, you begin to take accountability and self-responsibility for your life situation. You can't help but look around you and see how so many people complain or make certain statements, but never take action to make changes. And then you also begin to understand, hey, you know what? I was in a certain situation that I didn't want to be in. And for a while, I didn't think that I was choosing this. I didn't think that I chose to be in this bad job. I didn't think that I chose to be in this toxic relationship. But once I did remove myself from those places, I was able to look back and recognize that I was choosing it the whole time. So when I look at a homeless person or a drug addict or somebody in an abusive situation and all these people are choosing to stay, I can empathize and understand why. Because so many people don't even realize that they're choosing. But it doesn't take away from the fact that they still are choosing. Just like it doesn't matter how much I complained about being in these toxic jobs or being in an unhealthy, toxic, emotionally abusive relationship. As long as I stayed there, I was choosing it. There's so many reasons that my brain was saying, well, you have to do this, right? You have to. Because I was afraid. Period. That's it. I was afraid of what would happen if I stepped out of this thing that I've been so comfortable in. And the fear was telling me that the pain that I'm experiencing right now and the suffering that I continue to go through every day at this job or every day in this relationship, it's not as bad as the pain of walking away. Because guess what? You're going to actually want to come back to this thing. Because out there is worse. But it's so hilarious because the reality is I was choosing to stay in a situation that caused me pain every single day, instead of recognizing all I had to do was rip the Band-Aid, break up with the person, leave the job. And on the other side of doing that thing that scared me, taking accountability, taking responsibility, was so much more freedom, so much more space. And all these moments in my life, going all the way back to when I was in elementary school, we've all been there. We have a test at the end of the week or a class speech. All these moments that we were terrified of, that ultimately once we finished the speech and we took the test, we were fine. We always were fine. So don't let the fear of change keep you in something that ultimately isn't serving you anymore. That's why you don't resonate with it. That's why you're not having a good time. That's why there's all these thoughts that are convincing you to stay. But the reality is, the real you knows and has known that it's time to change. It's time to move on. It's time to let go. It's time to embrace. Man, I'm telling you, I walked away from such an unhealthy relationship, and a year and a half later, I met my wife, and now we've been together for almost 6 years. I went to a job that I was afraid of doing, that I had been avoiding, and I started making way more money, tens of thousands of dollars more than I was making. I doubled what I was making in 4 months because I accepted responsibility that I knew I needed to accept. And that responsibility was for myself. Woo! Okay. I have to pee so bad, so I'm gonna go back home now. But man, life is good. And I know it's so cliche to say, but there is no setbacks for you. Only setups, man. It is so funny to say. I get it. I don't care. It only sounds cheesy because a part of you doesn't believe that's realistic for you. But it is, bro. It's not cheesy when you understand that it's true. If it's cheesy, it's because you don't believe it, which means that you identify with being scared. You're settling. Raise your freaking standards. Stop staying with the girl that doesn't really like you. Stop staying at the job that isn't really paying you, or that's overworking you, or that's creating whatever type of friction. Or embrace the thing that you need to embrace. Be vulnerable. Take responsibility. Woo! Let's go, man.